Namaskar and welcome to NFL Masala. I'm your co-host Anant.
And I am your other co-host, Ruckshuck. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 20 of NFL Masala, where we talk about all the latest happenings in the NFL with a little bit of spice. And if you guys are staying up with us, and a little bit and a lot and a baku amount of chai.
Yeah. Or Gatorade in a Green Bay Packers bottle. This is the way to go. Get your piss hot.
If now you know this kind really quickly. Did you know this? If you ever watched the film Waterboy by Adam Sandler, very classic film.
No.
There's the scene where the coach is like telling Adam Sandler, "Water sucks. Gatorade is better. Use it on the field and visualize it." And he's like, "Not only Gatorade tastes better, it quenches your thirst, you idiot. No, Gatorade, H2O, Gatorade, H2O. Water sucks. It really, really sucks. Oh, water sucks." I recommend you watch that clip.
All right, we'll do.
The Waterboy.
But yeah,
Dude.
let's get started now with the Week 7 recap. Oh my God. Week 7. We are almost at the halfway mark of the NFL season. Jeez. Almost at the halfway mark.
Look how far we come.
Because we're going to be previewing what happens in Week 8, and we, as the NFL Masala hosts, we are going to be predicting what exactly happens in Week 8 because we have that power. So, before we do that, let's recap what happened.
We are the end.
Bless you.
Yeah. We're the be-all and the end-all.
Yes, we
So
are.
whatever God that you pray to, it's us. And we don't take... I'm joking.
Yeah. Alrighty. So finally, we're going to be recapping Week 7. We're going to be previewing Week 8 after some Damarkadar news, and boy, have we had some Damarkadar news. The Chiefs.
Oh boy, leak away.
Since last week, since the Chiefs were left out on the explosive wide receiver trade market, they've decided to hop back into the fray. And the dumbass Titans have allowed this to happen by trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs. Now, it's not the same DeAndre Hopkins that he was 3-4 years ago, but nonetheless, he's DeAndre Hopkins. He's still, since 2013, he has the 4th lowest drop percentage in the NFL ever since 2013 amongst all wide receivers. So he is still sure-footed. He may not have the speed or the burst, but he has the hands, and that's all Mahomes needs. Don't you guys have to understand that Mahomes is no ordinary quarterback, all right? He's not Will Levis, who sucks, but he's not Derek Carr, who needs the wide receiver to have like 5 yards of separation, and Derek Carr will make an accurate throw. This is Mahomes we're talking about. As long as the wide receiver doesn't drop the ball will get there. Rest assured. And this is Andy Reid we're talking about. If DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have Xavier Worthy's speed and he doesn't have the agility of McCole Hardman, it doesn't matter. He's going to use DeAndre Hopkins in whatever way they can. They already brought in Kareem Hunt, who had like 100 yards rushing against the 49ers since, I don't know, 4 years ago when he was actually appropriate or when he was actually successful.
Kind of like that. We'll talk more about Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, but why Titans? First Buffalo, now Tennessee. It's just more black magic done by the Chiefs. Titans get a bucket of scraps and some fish bait. That's all they get. They receive a 2025 fifth-round pick that becomes a fourth-rounder if the Chiefs reach the Super Bowl and DeAndre Hopkins plays 60% of snaps with Kansas City. Tennessee will also pick up $2.5 million of DeAndre Hopkins' remaining $8 million salary this season.
What? Are you kidding me?
So,
Tennessee, your
yeah.
GMs are complete idiots. Remember in 2022 when we first did our reaction to the NFL draft on our very first year?
Mm-hmm.
Titans gave away their best wide receiver, AJ Brown, and then now it's this year. It's like they do not. It's like I think it was a Tom Grossi clip. It was like this is where the receivers go to die, like literally.
Yes. Now, Calvin Ridley is the lone, actual wide receiver one, but he hasn't been playing like a wide receiver one either. Also because of Will Levis, but it's just I don't know, man. The Chiefs they just keep getting away with it. This is after Rashee Rice suffered a right knee injury in Week 4 that required season-ending surgery. They lost Hollywood Brown to a shoulder surgery in the preseason, and Juju Smith just this past week suffered a hamstring injury that has ruled him out for Sunday's game against the Raiders and probably could rule him out for future games as well. So that means they have. Let's just take a look. I
I'm
swear to
guessing
God.
McCole. I would say Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman, Xavier Worthy, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kareem Hunt, and that
Yeah.
Carson Steele dude.
Yeah. So Justin Watson, Sky Moore,
Oh, I forgot those
Xavier
two.
Worthy, and McCole Hardman are the only other wide receivers on the roster before they brought in DeAndre Hopkins. Like, it still doesn't matter. They're going to succeed. It's just a matter of how much success. It's I don't want to talk about it anymore. Anyways, go ahead next.
All right. So, in the bit of where all the other wide receivers are going, we do have some rumor news.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. According to Sarah Bishop of ESPN, on October 22nd, Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp says that he is aware that his name has been mentioned in trade rumors before the November 5th trade deadline, but he's focused on being the best LA Ram. And by the way, folks, in case you don't know, November 5th, that is voting. So make sure you go out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
But and I think like and a little bit more on that. He said like when asked about it, he's like, no, nothing really. No, it's that time of the year. There's going to be some rumors and all that stuff. I let that stuff as much as it can be in the background. And he's aware of it. And he takes the pride in he's going to be the best LRM for now. And he's not played since week 2, ever since he had that sprained ankle and that loss to the Cardinals. 2 games before his injury, he had 18 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. As of now, he was estimated to be a full participant in practice Tuesday, and he's expected to play Thursday against the Minnesota Vikings, aka the purple incarnations of Satan, or whichever hell demon that you believe in.
Yes.
And yes, he was on IR, and he didn't play in Week 7 against the Raiders. So I think so Cooper Kupp coming back, I think it's good. Definitely going to attract like some markets on like who would be the best team to trade for him. But as of now, if I'm the Rams, unless it's a good offer, stay where you are with Kupp, because he can still be used to help out with Puka and Tutu.
Mm-hmm. All righty. I think he should go to LAC.
The Chargers?
Yes. Because their defense is good. It's top 5 in the league.
We'll talk about that.
Their offense just has to improve a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. They didn't score a touchdown.
You can't play you cannot play. One thing is like you cannot play Michigan football when you're like Michigan football is like college wise.
Yeah,
it can work for some parts, but when it translates to the NFL, you gotta adapt. It's like what I've learned from what people from 4th and John and what other podcasts have taught me. you got to diversify your portfolio. I mean, you got your stocks and your bonds and your market funds. Anand, you being the well acquainted businessman, what else do you need in your financial portfolio, my man? Stocks.
What? I'm not even close.
But I mean, like you get the gift, you get the
Yes.
gist. Like you also need to check on your IRA, 401k. You got to diversify your thing if you want to retire early. And if you're just laying on just the main thing, like especially with offenses, you got to have a side taste of the hitch route, the go route, hot routes, etc. You just can't go 5 basic plays. And I'm looking at you, Nick Sirianni, Mr. North Korea agent. All right, I'm done.
Yeah. So let's move forward with our last, well, third to last, second to last. Andy Dalton
Yeah.
for the Carolina Panthers, unfortunately, was involved in a automobile accident with his family. His wife and his 3 children and his dog were traveling down on a road where the accident occurred. However, good news is that none of the individuals involved in the accident required emergency medical attention. They were not transported to the hospital nearby. So, based off of this accident, unfortunately, Andy Dalton has a sprained right thumb on his throwing hand. So that means that Bryce Young will now restart as the starter for the Carolina Panthers. And it couldn't have come at a worse possible time for Bryce Young because he now faces the Denver Broncos.
Take a picture of
And
me
that
right now.
defense.
Hold on. If you want, just take a picture of me right now. Because when I heard the news, I'm like this. No, like honestly, right now.
That is every Panthers fan ever. Because do you want to know what the rest of their schedule is? Let's say, Andy Dalton is sidelined for the next couple of weeks. It's not like Carolina is going to be
IR most likely.
Yeah, but it's not like Carolina is going to be any sort of playoff contender or anything. They just lost to the Commanders 40-7. All right. They're not going to the playoffs.
Spoiler.
Their next couple of games: Broncos, Saints, Giants, Chiefs, Bucks, Eagles, Cowboys, Cardinals, Bucks, and Falcons. So all I see on this is loss, maybe win against the Giants, loss against the Chiefs.
Oh, they'll easily lose to the Giants. Giants cannot lose this game. If they do, fire. Oh, we'll get to the Giants.
Yeah. But let's say they do lose, right? To the Giants. Then they have 3 straight losses. They are 1-8 on the season. Okay. 1-9 on the season. Okay. Loss. Yeah. They might end up 1-16. Maybe 2-15.
Oh my God. You know what? Beat the dome moment right here. Panthers are going to go 1-15. And they're going to trade their very first pick.
Oh, you mean 1-16?
1-16,
Yeah.
and they're going to trade away their number 1 pick for
that means that they would have had the number 1 overall pick 2 consecutive years in a row. Because last year they had the number 1 overall pick, but it was traded to the Bears for Bryce Young the previous year. Man, the Panthers. Anyways, let's move forward.
Yeah. And we're sticking with the NFC South. This being said, I think this was recorded yesterday. According to Catherine Terrell of ESPN, the Saints on Tuesday night, they announced a 2-year extension for star running back Alvin Kamara to 2026. And the extension is approximately $24.5 million. And it was and apparently Kamara said in September he was willing to play the season without a contract, and he entered the season with no guaranteed money left that he signed in 2020. And for reference, it was a 5-year, $75 million contract extension that year that ran through the end of 2025, but he was due $22.4 million in base salary and had a $29 million salary cap figure, which have forced the Saints to adjust the contract in some way. And he was the last major contract set the salary cap strap Saints have not addressed this year. So, I mean, I know he's just trying to focus on it, but I mean, so far he's had like 111 carries, 438 yards, 6 touchdowns this season, along with 34 receptions, 252 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown. Of course, 2017 third-round pick from the University of Tennessee Volunteers, Offensive Rookie of the Year that season, and he's been to 5 Pro Bowls. And yeah, I mean, congrats to Kamara, but are you really sure that's how the offensive line is going to work? Because you basically needed everything in the draft, honestly.
Yeah, just fire the entire team. I mean, just fire sale the entire team.
Maybe you know what's a good idea? Maybe we should hire Clint Kubiak. Dumbass.
No, I think the offense just needs to evolve, and I don't think they have the right quarterback on the roster to help them evolve. Because we've seen the Shanahan system work, right? I mean,
in some cases. And there my co-host has disappeared. My co-host has disappeared because of our frustrations with the Saints. This is what the Saints do to us, man.
Yes.
And I mean, like, and looking at the draft, you're looking on Quinn Ewers, Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck.
This isn't the draft.
It's not it.
Quarterback. This ain't it.
They have to bite the bullet next year and pray that Archie Manning declares early.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. That's it for the DeMarco news.
Oh, and by the way, who? Bulldogs, baby. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at scouting at future Eagles Bulldogs that they would get in the draft.
Okay. Not before us.
I know, like, I know that Texas Tech got its ass kicked by fucking Baylor, man. How the hell did you lose to Baylor?
See, this is what you get. You wish bad things on other superior teams, you will get bad karma.
I know. The Ruksha curse is karma proof, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's why Texas Tech lost to Baylor then. Because you wanted Texas to lose to Georgia.
No, because after I saw the score, I'm like, no, I just hope Georgia kicks UT's ass. That's all I
Exactly.
know.
See? Exactly. That's what I mean.
Before the
karma
game.
is coming back to strike you. Karma doesn't choose when to. It just does. Alrighty. Let's move on to actual NFL football instead of college football. We'll see. We'll see. What's the Texas Tech saying? All right, yeah. I don't know. L. There you go.
Horns down, baby.
This LT, take the L for the T. I don't know what sign you guys have. You're not even worth having a sign. We have the most recognizable sign in the world. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you know what? I'm officially placing the Ruksha curse on UT Austin. They're not going to win the SEC championship. They will sure as hell not win the college football playoffs.
We'll see. Archie Manning will save us. Arch Manning will save us.
Oh no, he's gonna get knocked his ass out.
All right. Yeah.
Moving on.
See, it's not Arch Manning saving us. It's Jordan Love saving the rest of the NFL from Patrick Mahomes winning the Super Bowl. Because make no mistake, Jordan Love will take us to the Super Bowl this year. It is guaranteed. We have a kicker now. We have an actual kicker now. since Mason Crosby retired. Brandon McManus, he drills the last-minute clutch game-winning field goal after getting iced by the Texans. 45-yarder to win. Jordan Love leading the game-winning drive by mostly feeding targets to one Mr. Romeo Dobbs, as Tom
Bro,
Grossi
that was not
lovingly
it.
says.
You gotta do it with a more Shakespearean accent. Look, oh Romeo, Romeo, what for art thou, Romeo?
Nah, fuck
Handeth
Shakespeare.
the ball to
I am quoting Tom Grossi, the greatest literary writer of all time. Not Shakespeare.
not Bill.
Tom Grossi. Anyways,
Welcome to the weird, everyone.
Yes. 9 p.m. Central Time. This
10
is
p.m.
NFL
for me.
Masala After Dark.
10 p.m. for me, Eastern Standard Time. And all.
Exactly. Packers scored 24 versus Texans 22. This was a heavyweight bout. And this was a fight that went back and forth. And I have to give shout out to the one unit that did not fail. And yes, the Texans scored 22 points, but given the situations that they were thrown into, our defense just played out of their minds. The lowest passing yards allowed in CJ Stroud's career. 86 total yards on 21 attempts, with half of them just being yards after catch. 46 yards after catch.
And with this, I just wanted because for me, like when I look at the games, like of course I want to see offensive firepower, but I want to see a defense. And honestly, I gotta beat the dome moment right here. I don't know if you've already mentioned this, but Xavier McKinney, Defensive Player of the Year. With Aiden Hutchinson being out,
hopefully
Xavier. No, honestly, I think this is the guy.
It might be Dexter Lawrence.
Sexy Dexy? I don't know. No,
leading the league with 9 sacks.
He can lead the league with sacks, but I'm saying with the position that McKinney has done, I don't know. He had like a streak of interceptions.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think he should deserve it, but he won't because the sack leader typically gets it.
Oh, no, screw the sack leader. Xavier McKinney is winning Defensive Player of the Year. Beat the dome moment right here. Certified that bitch.
We'll see.
Certified that.
Either that or Evan Williams gets Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's for sure. He's been like the best safety in the league, or at least like a top 5 safety in the league so far this year. And man, it just keeps getting better and better because this game was not the game for the secondary. They did not get any interception. And they did not get any fumbles. They did not get any turnovers. It was the front 7. Finally, against a good offensive line, 45% pressure rate. Actually, more than 45% pressure rate because according to some analysts, like I think PFF had graded it at 51.5% pressure rate. That means on half of CJ Stroud's 21 pass attempts, he was being pressured in his face. 4 sacks, blitzed him around half a dozen times. And this is the best part of what I saw. It wasn't just a 4-man win on, one-on-one, right? There was a mix of all of that, right? There was a lot of that actually. There was a lot of 4-man rush, and there was a lot of exotic blitzes. That's what I was getting to. Jeff Hafley has done a masterful job of creating pressure with a variety of different looks and different maneuvers, right? Some of those maneuvers being sim pressures or simulated pressures. Basically what that is you have what looks to be a blitz. So you'll have like 7 men crowding the line of the scrimmage, and 4 of them drop back and it's a 3-man rush, or 3 of them drop back and it's a 4-man rush, like that. But you don't know which person is dropping back and which person is coming forward. So I will show you a play where we see here. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So here we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 men crowding the line of scrimmage. This looks to be a cover 0 blitz, meaning there's a man for every receiver out here. One there,
Pure man
one
cover.
here, right? Middle field safety, that's Evan Williams and Jair Alexander on the left side of the field, right? To get this guy. Now it looks like it's going to be a cover 0 blitz with 7 men rushing, right? You got 3 down linemen and 4 in their 2-point stance. Look at that.
Boom.
It ends with just being a 4-man rush. It goes immediately
And then you have
from 7 men
yeah.
to a 4-man rush, and you don't know who's rushing, because here you have Xavier McKinney off in like the slot corner position, right?
Nickel.
You've got Preston Smith off of one end. You've got who I believe to be Brooks. No, not Brooks. Either Kenny Clark or someone else. Devontae White. No, not Devontae White, but someone else. That's Kenny Clark right there. Oh, that's Kingsley Enigbare. There we go. So you got Enigbare, you got Preston Smith, Quay Walker on the line of scrimmage. You got Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Edgerrin Cooper, and Xavier McKinney. So those are like your 7 linemen who are looking to pressure. And then once you move away, once you progress, you see that it's just 4 guys coming at you. But now, if you're the offensive lineman, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 men to protect, right?
Yeah.
That means by simple math, you should be winning this pass rep. But look what happens. With a simulated pressure, Jeff Hafley calls something else, which is a stunt. He basically stunts Rashawn Gary from the outside to the inside, and Rashawn Gary moves inside while one of the interior pass rushers moves to the outside. That confuses everybody here, and they forget that Xavier McKinney is pass rushing. So Xavier McKinney gets a clean shot to CJ Stroud and cleans him up for the sack.
Brilliant.
This is exactly what Brian Flores does, and this is what people mean by exotic blitzes. And this is exactly what Mike McDonald did last year with the Ravens. These type of giving one look and doing the complete opposite, right? From cover 0, it goes immediately to cover 2. You got two safeties, one being I believe that's Keyshawn Nixon or Javon Bullard. I think Keyshawn Nixon might be. And then you got Evan Williams as the other safety. And then you got Quay Walker in the middle of the field. Preston Smith being CB1 right here. But it didn't matter because there was nobody open. Maybe the guy in the flat, but that was going to be tackled by Eric Stokes there. And it didn't matter because Xavier McKinney got home. So this type of exotic blitz was exactly what Jeff Hafley was piping up. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing that he got pressure on. If you look at a 4-man rush as well, the Packers sent 5 or more pass rushers on only 17% of CJ Stroud's dropbacks, which is the lowest team blitz percentage, second lowest team blitz percentage, which with the lowest being 17.1. So this is probably like the second or third lowest blitz percentage in this entire week. But the Packers pressured on roughly 51.7% of his dropbacks, which means the highest rate of pressure that they actually got was just with 4-man pressures. They got the extra additional ones barely on only 17% of CJ Stroud's dropbacks. And this past week, the highest team pressure rate in the NFL was at 42.6%. So this clearly shows that the four-man rush of Kenny Clark, Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, and the other interior defensive linemen were winning. They were winning their one-on-one reps, and the scheme also allowed them to be successful. More passing stats, more pass rushing stats here. Total pressures against Houston. Rashawn Gary got 6 pressures, Enigbari 3, Eric Wilson 3, and I'm going to talk about Eric Wilson in a little bit. Xavier McKinney with 2, who had also 1 sack. Kenny Clark with 2, Colby Wooden, who was, I think, the other down lineman on that one, and Carl Brooks. CJ Stroud also on third down, dropped back 14 times, was pressured 12 times on third down. Last year, Joe Barry, he would have called 0 blitzes, 0 pressures on third down, because that's what he did against Carolina and against Tampa Bay. He did the exact same thing. Now, if you look at another play here, you can see here, let me share. Yeah. So here we can see that it's a 4-man rush, right? But Rashawn Gary is just happily stunting his way and like whistling his way to the middle of the field from the wide 9 stature all the way into the inside. And just when he passes, he gets a free lane to force CJ Stroud outside and force it to be an incompletion. Just is so nonchalant in his methods of producing pressure. It was insane. And final statistic, yeah, Joe Mixon had a field day with our run defense that does need some work. 25 rush attempts for 115 yards, 2 touchdowns with a lot of zone running. So that is something that needs to be addressed. But on the entirety, 82 pass yards allowed total, 86 at the end, 4 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, which is the 3rd highest in a game since the year 2000. 3.4 yards per play allowed. I mean, this was a masterclass of a defensive performance. Final shout out, Eric Wilson coming off the bench as our 3rd or 4th interior linebacker. It just completely blacked out. All right. He just like spaced out and produced one of the best like games you could ask for a linebacker coming off the bench. Okay. He had where is he? Yeah. 66% completion percentage. Okay, when targeted in the passing yard. 1.7 defensive depth of target. He had 2 sacks, 6 combined tackles, 2 pressures, and 3 blitzes on like 15 snaps.
Damn.
He just, man, he was fantastic. Let me look here. Eric Wilson. Yeah, sorry, 57. So in terms of like 57 snaps, he produced 2 sacks, 6 combined tackles, 3 blitzes, only 13 yards of yak allowed. It was fantastic. Fantastic performance by Eric Wilson. Now, that's the defense. I'm going to try and quickly wrap it up here. All right. Offensively, Jordan Love is him. Okay. He had more crazy touchdowns and more crazy interceptions, but you know what? I don't give a shit. Okay. I don't care that people are saying, oh, he has so many touchdowns, he has so many interceptions. Your dumb friend Cozy would probably say this. He would be like, oh, Jordan Love sucks because, Jordan Love leads the league in terms of interceptions.
Oh,
He
man.
ties the league in terms of touchdowns as well. And what matters most is that he scores touchdowns, not that he has interceptions. Touchdowns carry a lot more weightage than throwing interceptions. And he's second in the league with 15 touchdowns while missing 2 games. And in this game specifically, he had 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions, but he had 9.8% completion percentage over expected, plus 9.8, which means he threw insanely tight throws, right? And initially in the game, he had his crazy passes, 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
But in the clutch, he came in clutch when it mattered. When trailing versus the Texans, he was 19 of 25 for 173 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 133.8 passer rating.
I mean, be better clip. Send this clip out and send it over to Cozy because I cannot wait for him in the Soup Boys. And I want, especially shout out to Cozy, Rico, Twizzy, and Coach from as a member of the Soup Boys podcast. So, I mean, I gotta show a little bit of love on that. But yeah, I mean, I'll let him know.
Yeah, and tell me what quarterback.
All right, let's see this play.
Throws and completes this. Throws and completes this.
I would say legends like what Tom Brady, Joe Montana, maybe Pat Mahomes on a given Sunday.
No, Pat Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, Brett Favre. That's the company that he's in. And did you know he is now the only the 4th quarterback under the age of 25 who has 9 straight 2+ touchdown 2 or more touchdown games. And the other quarterbacks are like Brett Favre, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes, and like another quarterback. Legendary Hall of Fame quarterback. That's the company that he's in. So I don't care what people say. This man is our gunslinger, and he deserves it.
And can I say this really quickly? I mean, of course, like me, when I'm looking at this like analytically, like only thing Jordan Love needs to do, I'm saying this out of like positive criticism, just clean up on those turnovers. That's pretty much it. The rest of it, he's doing great. He's doing great. Everything he's doing is great. But people are, of course, they're gonna call out the turnovers, which is so I'm saying, like, if he has a game which he doesn't throw a pick, I mean, it does work. It works well for him. Other than that, he's perfect. He's literally perfect.
So people say that he has a higher turnover. He has a very high turnover worthy play rate. Do you know the quarterbacks with a higher turnover worthy play rate than Jordan Love?
I know Jalen Hurts being one of them. Yeah.
Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
So yes, he has thrown a lot of interceptions. He's leading the league with Mahomes at 8 interceptions. But it's not like, and a lot of those interceptions are actually just, it's not like he's lobbing a pass straight to the receiver. That's maybe 1 or 2, or not receiver, defensive back, right? It's just 1 or 2, especially that one against the Rams. Most of those were like, especially in this game, tipped passes that got intercepted.
Yeah.
Or, forcing a double, triple coverage. Yes, that would be, that would be on him, but he's a gunslinger. You can't fault him for that.
Fair enough.
That's his mentality. So yes, I do agree that there are some things that he does have to clean up with, and it's not necessarily the turnovers. It's when to turn the ball over. If he's turning the ball over in the first half and cleaning it up in the second half, I'm fine with that. If he's turning the ball over in clutch situations, that's the issue that needs
which is fine. Like, which is perfectly fine. It's just like, just be aware. Like how we say, like for other things, like if you're a quarterback, Just be aware of what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
If the
Situational
defense
football.
makes a good play, you cannot do anything about it.
Right. Situational football. That's what I'm talking about as well. All right. Romeo Dobbs, the slant god. He is here. 6 out of 6 on slants. Finished with 8 out of 10 for 94 yards and 6 first downs. 2 or 3 of them were on like the game-winning field goal drive as well. And he's Mr. Strong Can't Slant God, Romeo Dobbs. He is here. Last but not least, actually not last but not least, but Tucker Kraft. He is a top 10 tight end in the entire league. Okay. He has a 138.5 passer rating when targeted this year, and he caught that heater, which I showed from Love. Diving catch in the end zone. Teams would be lucky to have him. Not only that, he blocks like anything. And he's been quoted to say that I think of burning down their childhood homes when I block them.
He said that?
I mean, facetiously, he did. But yes, he did in a post-game press conference. So we've got killers. All right. That's exactly how we need to play football. This is what we've been trying to get for the past 5 years. Now we actually have them. Last but not least, the MVP of the game is Sir Daniel Whalen, our punter. All right. He punted 5 times today for 284 yards, a 56.8 yard gross average, which is the second best single game average in Packers history, only behind Roy McKay's 61.6 yard average on 5 punts versus the Chicago Cardinals in 1945.
The what again?
The Chicago Cardinals.
What?
1945.
This makes me feel old when you're saying names like this. I'm thinking like the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets, the Chicago Cardinals, the Baltimore Colts. You know, they were the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before they became the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. But yeah, and the last best thing that he did was that he saved the game-winning kick from Brandon McManus, by saving the dud of a snap that Matt Orsic, our long snapper, threw, and he properly balanced it. Like it was 5 feet away or like 3 feet to the ground. Daniel Whalen, in the blink of an eye, had to pick it up, reset it with the laces out. Luckily had that as well, and completely allowed Brandon McManus to hit the game-winning kick. Other guys probably would not have gotten it to this level. So, yeah. And last but not least, finally, going into this game, teams with the -3 turnover differential were 0-13. All right. Since 2000, the win rate with a -3 differential is 9.8% win rate. And going into this game this year, teams were 0-13. The Packers won with the -3 turnover differential. It just goes to show we can win smart, like versus the Cardinals. We can win ugly, like versus the Texans. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Okay. With that being said, goes to my Philadelphia Eagles. You know what, Anand? This may be the first time that I've actually relaxed and enjoyed a game from start to finish. I didn't say anything about North Korea, Nick Sirianni waving his crooked fingers and playing geriatric football. But want to know what the final score was?
Yeah.
28-3. And the Eagles didn't blow a 28-3 lead this time. I'm looking at you, Falcons. But if you wanted to know who this was all about, guess who this game was technically all about?
Saquon. Had to be.
It was people are calling it the Saquon Barkley revenge game, although Saquon said this was technically not a revenge game. I just want to go in there, play, and just get it over with. I feel you, man. It's okay to to gloat. You're going back against another team. And by the way, did you know he put up 17 rushes for 176 yards and a touchdown?
Against his former team. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he was 13. He was apparently 13 yards shy of the record done by running back against his own team, which was Cedric Benson back in the day. He was when he was with the Bengals, he had 13 plus yards against the Bears.
Yeah.
I don't know when. And there's a clip of Nick Sirianni going up to Saquon Barkley saying, "Hey, you know, and the game's way out of reach." Nick Sirianni is like, "Hey, you know, you're like 13 yards shy." It's like, yeah. And it's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah. Do you want to go back in? We can help you get those 13 yards." I was like, "Nah, man." It's like, "You sure? We can give you we can help you out with those 13 yards." Like, "No, let the young dogs, let the young dogs eat." That's my running back. That is my running back. And by the way, NFC Offensive Player of the Week, Angry Run winner from Good Morning Football. And I'll tell you why. And a couple of things. When you're down with two offensive linemen, I mean, especially with Jordan Mailata coming in, we had Fred Johnson to replace Jordan Mailata after the hamstring injury he suffered against the Browns. And during the game, guard Mekhi Becton goes out with a concussion. And the one who replaces him is Tyler Steen, second-round pick last year from Alabama. And especially with backups coming, we know that the Giants are going to be bringing in pressure. And yeah, Jalen Hurts got sacked 4 times because of that interior pass rush by, I think, like by Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari. And again, this has been, and this is where I have a little bit of frustration. And this is where I still believe Nick Sirianni is still a North Korean agent. 6th game in a row, the Eagles have not scored on the first quarter at all. We're the only franchise to do that now. Patriots got that job done. Which explains to me, play by play, I'm looking at the drive chart. Eagles force a punt. 4 plays. So on a 2nd and 9, you're in shot. Why am I saying a little bit of shotgun formation? And I'm like, sometimes I'm seeing a little bit of like, you're going under center. And like some plays, Jalen Hurts is going under center. And I'm like, okay, or incorporating some of the mesh shot concepts. But then again, you got to give credit to Joe Shane and that Giants pass rush. Sacking Jalen. I mean, they got the Jalen Hurts 4 times, especially in the interior and on the outside. I think Azeez Ojulari had 2. Dexter Lawrence, or AKA people call him Sexy Dexy. 2 sacks for him, rightfully so. And it's like you go punt, and then and then Kellen Moore's like, "Hey, you know what? Let's build this thing through the run game." And you unleash the dog that is Saquon Barkley. And if you know that you're down lines and you're not scoring the first quarter, and instead of like just simply passing the ball, you go back to what your original identity is. And the Eagles' identity, which I believe they should have done this a while back, running the football, you're opening up the pass lanes, and you open up the play action, mesh concepts, screens, jet sweeps, you effing name it. Am I correct on this one? Because right now, Saquon Barkley is the guy driving your offense. And I don't think it's Jalen Hurts. And when you're running the ball, it allows a much more cleaner game by Jalen Hurts. And by the way, Hurts, speaking of stats for Jalen Hurts, he was 10 for 14, 114 yards of passing and 1 touchdown. No turnovers. What does this say, Anand? Tell me, what does this mean? Run the ball. When you're running the ball, it sets up everything beautifully. And I mean, I want to talk, and I got to talk about my man Saquon Barkley. So, and this is actually one of the some of the things that I'm going to be showing you guys is what actually earned him the Angry Runner award. First play, 3rd and 14, goes up. It's basically dead. Jalen Hurts, 1, 2, 3, stays in the pocket, reads, bull rushes over the guy. Did you see that?
Man, Saquon is just fantastic.
He's the same. And then, of course, inside. And then I actually didn't know this, but during the game, and I think okay, this is one of the big plays. Second down. I didn't know this, but Eagles practice squad linebacker Ben Van Sumeren,
Mm-hmm.
he was playing fullback in some positions.
Hmm.
And he was able to open up some of the passing, the rushing lanes for Saquon to get it. So I don't know. I don't know where I can actually spot him, but so basically outside run. This is an out. Oh no, you can explain the play on this one. So it looks like trips formation right there, right? Trips on the bottom. What AJ Brown is right there. They're playing, and Giants are trying to bring in 1, 2, 3, 4 man rush. Saquon's right there. What does Hurts do? Hikes the ball. Inside rush. Guard pulls Tyler Steen and Cam Jurgens put a little bit of contact, pull moves along, creates lane, pushes the guy, and Saquon Barkley's running. 65-yard gain, helps lead them to the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
a phenomenal outside zone
all right. So
concept.
So yeah, exactly. Okay, corrections. Dickerson makes the first block, and then you have Cam Jurgens, and then Tyler Steen, immediate comes in and helps out.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Saquon Barkley would have gotten it. And of course,
yeah, that's fantastic, man.
Yeah. And then here's another one. So I think this is Ben. Okay, so this is the Ben Van Sumeren's right here. But folks, he is a linebacker. A practice squad linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm saying this. A practice squad linebacker playing fullback. Basically a two-way player? I don't know. But seeing this, comes in there, boom. Do you see that? See that earlier. So he's coming in there, makes the first block, open room for Saquon Barkley. How brilliant is this by this? Tell me when I'm telling lies.
It is just a fantastic usage of personnel, man. This is what you expect good coaches to do.
Kellen Moore finally using something. And then, of course, the 4th and 3 play. I'm not going to show the video, but it's basically Giants are showing blitz. Jalen basically goes, F it, AJ Brown out there somewhere and throws the ball. I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing on a 4th and 3? But apparently AJ Brown beats the coverage and scores touchdown. I'm like, it was basically a go route, literally a go route, because I think the only 3 routes the Eagles know how to run is, and one of them is being a hitch and a go. I don't see any curl. I don't see any slots coming in. I rarely see a mesh concept, but this is like, I mean, AJ Brown had some good passes, and I was very surprised that Devontae Smith wasn't targeted. And there were some plays in which Hurts, he could have targeted Smith early, but he missed out on it. So he has to do better with those passes. And Jahan Dotson, Grant Calcaterra, I mean, of course, if Saquon Barkley is running the offense, you would want to stick one more with Saquon, but you got to, again, diversify the portfolio. Attack that middle of the field, because that is where your highest percentage of plays go. I mean, if you want to see what the Packers did, how much did they attack on the field? You don't need to give me a percentage. Tell me. How good was the attacking the middle of the field coverage against the Texans defense?
A lot of his seam shots that Jordan Love threw that rifled in was against the middle of the field, but Texas also played a lot of cover 2, so they couldn't really attack the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
when they did, they used Tucker Kraft, and that's where he got that touchdown.
Yeah, and I think like with Dallas Goedert being out for this game, it may have like Jalen Hurts had to stick with his 2 best weapons. But again, I hopefully want to see more with Devontae Smith, because he's still one of the best wide receivers, like from coming out of like. And when he's targeted, he has the ability. Yeah, he has the hands, he has the speed and the yak ability. And Kenny Gainwell He actually came up with some strong passes, and of course, Jalen Hurts tush pushes. I really wish Saquon Barkley could have gotten 2 or 3 more touchdowns. And especially, there was a second and 2 play. Second goal, Saquon Barkley was wide open. And I'm like, Hurts, why aren't you throwing it to him? And I realized Azeez Ojulari is coming in for a blitz. I'm like, get it out of the hands immediately. You did. And when I saw that, I'm like, that kind of frustrated me. But yeah, you made it up for the tush pushes and all that. But just a little bit of that cleanup. But again, a clean game by Hurts, meaning he did not turn over the ball. The run game was efficient. Ben Van Sumeren doing good things. But that was not the only thing. Defense! Holy shit. Defense by the Eagles came to play. This has been the second game in a row for the Eagles that they have not allowed a touchdown at all. They have not allowed a touchdown. And I think the last time they did that was like back in 2000 something, not in 2022. I don't know when, but I mean, they came to play. The defense versus the Giants, they had 8 sacks, 2.2 yards allowed per play, 3 points allowed, and 3 for 14 on third downs. But speaking of third downs, Eagles, they got to clean up on third downs, especially. And I think this is where, like, yes, if it's a third and short, run the ball. Run the ball when you need to. And like this is where, and I also believe first and second down is very important. When you're running the ball on first down, you're dictating the pace. You're forcing the opposing defense, whether do you bring in 5 people, do you bring in a run blitz to stop it? And when the minute they're bringing guys to the line of scrimmage, passing game opens. And speaking of sacks, the blitzes were dialed up. I mean, if you want to talk about blitzes, Nakobe Dean had himself a game. 2 sacks, 11 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 6 solos. Jalen Carter, 2 sacks. Bryce Huff had a whole sack, man. I had a Bryce Huff sighting. Beautifully done. And he was actually in a when he told Vic Fangio that I do better in a 4-point stance, Fangio changed it up. He changed it up for him and also contributed heavily on that pass rush. Nolan Smith, 1 sack. Josh Sweat had a sack. And guess what? The rookie in the very late of the game, when Daniel Jones was benched for Drew Lock, Jalix Hunt had a strip sack. He had the fumble, but almost recovered it. I would have liked it. And what was even more surprising for me was the secondary. How they did, and my only biggest worry was how you would stop Malik Neighbors. And Malik Neighbors, you want to know what he was limited to? 4 receptions for 41 yards.
Damn.
And there was one play in which Quinyon Mitchell was like going ultra physical at him, and he almost had a pick. When does Mitchell have himself a pick?
Yeah, I think Quinyon Mitchell ended up with like a ridiculous stat line.
Yeah.
Against Malik Neighbors.
Yeah. So when Quinyon Mitchell was going up against Malik Neighbors, 4 targets, 2 catches allowed, 15 yards, and a 59.4 passer rating allowed.
Damn.
And here's a crazy thing. And one more thing. I also give a shout out. I mean, Darius Slay had himself a good game, but guess what? Cooper DeJean, when he's lined up in the nickel position, 3 receptions only for 3 yards. And the way that they were allowing to jam up the line of scrimmage and play to their strengths, this is what I was looking for this Eagles defense. Now that it's gelling together, yeah, people are going to say, oh, it's the Giants. Oh, it's the Browns. Well, guess what? Maybe it was those tune-up games right after that bye week that the defense is finally figuring out that identity. And especially with this offense, when you're running the ball, you're opening up the pass game. When you're stopping that run and that pass rush is finally clicking in, they've had 8 sacks in the last 2 games. Let this trend continue. Build this up. You have this momentum now. And I want to say, I was very happy about this Eagles win, baby. And
Yes.
this is why I'm finally busting out the Jalen Hurts jersey.
Nice. Alrighty. So that's it for our games of the week. Now let's move on to the Masala games of the week recap for week 7. My recap was finally, I think, a good game. Probably the best game this year that we've had. And that's the Lions versus the Vikings. Lions win in an epic throwdown,
Oh my God.
31-29 in Minnesota. Burn down the stadium. Thank you very much, Lions. You guys did the job that you were supposed to. It was an ultimate gladiator contest. It was a fight for who's going to be the leader in the NFC North division. And it turns out Lions answered the bell. It was a back and forth war. And thankfully, thank God, Lions came out victorious. Fuck the purple bastards. All right. Just keep doing it to them. Just keep doing it to them. They'll do it to themselves, but we need to help them along their way. It's a classic Minnesota. We know they're capable of doing it to themselves, but we got to eventually push them down the cliff ourselves. So good job. Lions started the downfall, and the rest of the NFL needs to continue pushing them straight down the cliff into hell. All right. Both teams were each other's weaknesses, and it shows because the stats were freakishly close. Okay. In terms of first downs, Detroit 19, Minnesota 16. Rushing yards, 27 attempts, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns for Detroit, 21 attempts, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown for Minnesota. Passing yardage, 280 with just 22 out of 25 for Detroit, 22 out of 27 with 259 for Minnesota with 1 interception. It gets even crazier. How many times were they sacked? 4 times each team. How many net passing yards? 247 for Detroit, 244 for Minnesota. How many total yards? 391 for Detroit, 383 for Minnesota. The only thing that Detroit lost in was the turnover battle. Okay, 3 fumbles forced, 1 lost. But in terms of the turnover battle, it's 1 each. 1 interception for Minnesota and 1 fumble for Detroit. So that was the main difference between the two. But you look at penalties, it didn't seem like it was one team out favoring one another or the refs favored one team or another. Detroit had 8 penalties for 49 yards. Minnesota had 8 penalties for 59 yards. They were both 4 out of 10 for third down conversion, which means both defenses showed up on money downs. Okay. Fourth down conversion was the only thing that was different for Detroit, and that's because they tried it once and they failed. Now, time of possession. Guess the time of possession, Rakshak.
Okay. I'm gonna try and not look at the screen. Lions would have gone at least 28 minutes because they ran the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
Vikings would have gone 25 at best because there's a mix of run and Justin Jefferson out there somewhere.
Well, you're close. Detroit had 29 minutes, Minnesota 30 minutes.
Oh!
Yeah. So Minnesota had the higher time of possession, but barely by 57 seconds. That's it. So it was really the best gladiator fight that we have had this year, right? We predicted that the Chiefs Ravens were going to be something like this. Nope. Lions Vikings. And guess what? They had the audacity to put Jets and Steelers on Sunday Night Football over this game.
Why?
Or even Chargers Cardinals on Monday Night Football over this game. Unbelievable, man. So how did each team do, right? If we were to look at Vikings, what I'd predicted that they should have done in the preview was they had to get Lions to the money downs. And they did. We saw that 4 out of 10 on third down conversion. But when it mattered, Jared Goff, Jared Goff was the key to the victory for the Lions. He led the offense down calmly with a fantastic run game and got them the game-winning field goal. On the game, during the game, there was literally no way to stop Jared Goff. I thought that there was something, and that is get Jared Goff to money downs, pressure him, which is exactly what Brian Flores does. But even that didn't help. Did you know, Rakshak,
Yes.
when Flores was blitzing Jared Goff on 58% of Jared Goff's dropbacks,
How much?
Goff went 14 of 16 for 149 yards and a touchdown. That is 9.3 yards per attempt with a 126.3 passer rating. When he wasn't blitzed and he was pressured, 8 out of 9 for 131 and a touchdown.
Ooh-wee.
So there was no answer to Jared Goff. All of that being said, that the Detroit offensive line, while being a fantastic run blocking machine, are actually terrible in terms of pass block. I think they're on the year, they're 17th in the entire league in terms of pass block win rate. And during this game, they gave a pressure rate of 41%. So yeah, sorry, 17th in pressure rate allowed on the entire league, and 41% pressure rate allowed this game, which was the fourth highest the entire week. So it just goes to show that Jared Goff is on an unreal stretch of, as they say in cricket, he is in a purple patch.
Not that Vikings purple. The proper purple.
Proper purple.
And who do we have to thank for that? Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson and those weapons that Jared Goff has. Now, it's not to say that Jared Goff is a system QB.
Oh, no.
He's completely improved. So, yeah, credit to him. Even when the Vikings defense did cause that turnover, it was a fumble recovered for a touchdown. It still didn't work because the Lions got the job done against the Minnesota offense. The Lions defense, even without Aiden Hutchinson, 4 sacks on the entire game against Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold, while he did have 22 out of 27, he threw that pick and he only had 1 touchdown. So the Lions defense did the job in a much better way than the Vikings defense did against Jared Goff. That's what I'll say. So another thing, one of the last things that I want to say about this game is that I think that we could see this in the divisional playoffs again.
Oh,
I think this is a divisional playoff matchup where I think either the Lions or the Packers are going to win this division. I don't think the Vikings can win the division because more and more defenses are getting the tape on how to stop Sam Darnold. So if, like the Packers nearly pulled it off, right? The Packers nearly pulled it off against Sam Darnold. But I think the Lions are just too good of a team to overcome. So the Packers might be able to. If we do, then we're winning the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. But if not, then we might see this as a divisional playoff game. And man, that's going to be something to watch. Except at that time, it's going to be in Detroit and not Minnesota.
Oh my God. It's going to be raucous in Detroit.
Exactly. All right, last but not least, Jared Goff deserves to be in the MVP race.
100%.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
Crazy stat. NFL history stat. The Lions offense is the only team with more touchdowns than incompletions since 1970.
Insane.
The Lions offense has 18 total offensive touchdowns, and they have 16 passing incompletions over a 4-game span since 1970. There's no way. Jared Goff beat Jaden Daniels' record, which he beat the NFL record for highest average completion percentage over 4 weeks. Jared Goff adjusted percentage over 4 weeks is 87% completion percentage, which is the highest in NFL history.
Man,
Yeah,
that's just insane. And ask me the question about this game. Ask me.
How much did you like watching Amon-Ra run routes?
So damn good. Oh, did you see that pass Goff through to St. Brown?
It was a 7-man blitz. It was like the same Packers play that I showed, except this time they blitzed him. And Jared Goff calmly checks the pressure, gets another offensive personnel to block that other guy, stays in the pocket. Amon-Ra St. Brown runs a beautiful seam route up the middle. Jared Goff perfectly lays it on Amon-Ra for the touchdown. Like, that's what I'm saying. There was nothing that you could have done to stop him that game.
This is, I mean, this, for folks listening to NFL Masala, do you know why I always say do you know how much I love watching Amon-Ra St. Brown run routes? Because of plays like this, when I see intelligent football plays, me being a middle school wide receiver, route running is key. Speed is key, of course. And also game recognition, catching the ball, and yak. Those are elements of a great wide receiver. And we're seeing that right now in the Sun God. All hail Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes, sir. Alrighty. Your Masala game.
Oh my God. I honestly don't call this a Masala game because literally you want to know honestly my honest feelings about this game.
Yeah.
This game felt drunk. I felt I was drunk watching this game because both sides kept on turning over the ball. It was so bad. It felt that way. And it was so bad. But in the end, the Niners still cannot find a way to beat the Chiefs, despite being favorites entering this game. For those that are figuring this out, the Chiefs win 28-18 in the Super Bowl rematch. And if I want to talk about offensive wise for the Chiefs, this was one of the most horrible performances by Patrick Mahomes. Stat wise, 16 for 27, 154 yards, 2 interceptions. And yes, he did. He was able to run the ball. And looking at some at the box score, or I think he had 39 rushes and a rushing touchdown. But it was so bad, especially with Rashid Rice and Isaiah Pacheco being out. A lot of the game had to rely on the running ability of Kareem Hunt, Mahomes extending the play with his legs, especially if you're not getting productive, especially with Juju Smith-Schuster exiting out with a hamstring injury. Sky Moore, Xavier Worthy, Mecole Hardman, and Travis Kelce not even at their best, playing at their best. The Chiefs needed to make a move on wide receiver, which they did by getting DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, it felt so bad. And Mahomes was sacked 2 times. And I mean, the only highest receiver was Noah Gray. 4 receptions of 66 yards. Samaje Perine, Xavier Worthy, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, Justin Watson, Jody Fortson. I honestly thought that the Chiefs are going to lose this game because of that. But when they were able to find a way to run the ball, especially more with Kareem Hunt, 22 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's how they were able to win this game. And like in total, the Chiefs rushed the ball 39 times for 184 yards, all 4 touchdowns. Mecole Hardman with that jet sweep touchdown, and Mahomes making, I believe, one of the most ridiculous plays. It's a 3rd and 6 play. He hikes, runs left as he's approached, and Fred Warner misses a tackle. This is Fred Warner of the Niners defense, who's supposed to be one of the best coverage linebackers. Misses a tackle, and as Mahomes is nearing out of bounds, he basically puts his hand. He takes his ball, fakes that he's going out of bounds, and of course, you want to avoid the hit, otherwise you're going to get flagged for unnecessary roughness or push out of bounds. He fakes it, and they're letting go, and he gains for an extra couple of yards, which is why I still think that this is fixed. Good Lord. And if you want to talk about the Niners defense, they forced 3 turnovers, like two on Mahomes and two interceptions on Mahomes, and it was just like 2 interceptions on Mahomes, and then that was pretty much it. But only resulted in 7 points. And Brock Purdy, he wasn't even good either. He's not. It was horrible, especially when you understand this. Brandon Ayuk goes out with a nasty leg injury. Deebo Samuel couldn't play the entire game because he apparently felt sick. You're going without Christian McCaffrey, so you're relying on George Kittle, Jacob Counting, Ricky Pearsall, Ronnie Bell, Isaac Garendo, Kyle Juszczyk, and Chris Conley. That doesn't elaborate in success. The first 6 drive for the 49ers were 4 plays or less before they even had 1 drive to go for field goal. They kept on punting the ball. And again, credit to Steve Spagnuolo again for shutting down a Kyle Shanahan offense. I noticed a lot of great man coverage, cover 1, and jamming at the line of scrimmage and mixing in blitzes and pressures. They held Jordan Mason, the rushing attack, for 14 rushes for 58 yards, no touchdowns. And again, Brock Purdy, 17 for 31, 212 yards, 3 interceptions, 54.8% completion, 2 rushing touchdowns. It was bad. I think and yes, Pat Mahomes and Brock Purdy. If you want to know a crazy stat by Ari Meirov, Pat Mahomes and Brock Purdy combined for this game, 21 for 42 yards, 21 for 42, 230 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 26.98 passer rating, and 3 sacks. It was so horrible. I just don't know what to say about this game. And there was one. It was so bad that there was one tweet by Hardwood Paroxysmus. He said, "We replaced Brock Purdy and Pat Mahomes with Bryce Young and Will Levis. Let's see if anyone notices." Are you kidding me? It was, and here's the stat so far. In the first half alone, this I gotta show you this figure. I gotta show you this one, everyone. This was so bad. Here's what the stat by the first half. 12 for 22, 108 yards, 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy, 9 for 18, 130. Oh my God. It is even if the Chiefs don't have it still showed that they needed a wide receiver. Oh my goodness. It's the Chiefs needed a wide receiver, and luckily they were able to do so. But the biggest win was also the biggest reason why the Chiefs won this game, running the ball with the combination of Kareem Hunt and Pat Mahomes using his legs. And then the defense itself. I think there was one play, there's this one scheme that San Francisco usually uses, on third downs. They'll usually use switch releases from a bunch formation. And I'm sharing with this one play from Arrowhead Pride. Basically, it is a Give me 1 second. Basically, this is a coverage designed by Kansas City on a 3rd and 6. So here's what we're going to be having. Basically, you have 3rd and 6. Kansas City switching up safeties. Up top, you're getting one safety, and then and then immediately they shift to a 4-3 situation, following the motion guy. San Francisco likes to get some clear blocking, and especially from man coverage. This is how they're able to prevent they're able to stop this type of bunch formations that Kyle Shanahan usually likes to run on 3rd downs. Kansas City ability to mix up zone coverage and to mix up man coverage. Beautiful play calling by Spagnuolo. This is why he's one of the best defensive coordinators. And with that, my Masala game of the week turned out to be a snooze fest in my point of view. Bad.
All right. So that's going to be it for our Masala games of the week. Now we're going to move on to the best segment that we have.
Punch Minute.
Punch Minute recap. Let's get started. AFC. What happened there? Broncos play the Saints on Thursday night. Broncos win 33-10. And wow, this was a disastrous game to watch if you're a Saints fan. Sean Payton gets his revenge in New Orleans on Drew Brees Day. They honored Drew Brees at halftime, or I think before the game, and he's in the game booth watching the game happen, seeing his old mentor and his Super Bowl winning coach completely eviscerate the team that he played for almost his entire NFL career. Mind you, that he did start with the Chargers first. It was just a sad, sad day to be a Saints fan. So fire Dennis Allen into the sun, and the Saints continued their march towards cap hell supremacy by extending Alvin Kamara. Next year, their cap space is projected to be negative $71 million. Yeah. They got a lot of work to do.
Now's your picture time.
Every single year, it's the same old story.
Same old Saints.
Next game, Jags-Pats. Jags win 32-16. And this was another London game, and we all thought that this time it was the wrong time to bring Drake May in because the Patriots don't have an offensive line, and they don't have wide receivers. They don't have an offensive coordinator. They don't have a running game. Turns out the kid's decent, but all those problems still exist. Now, the Jags did prove that they're not the Patriots' level of misery, but they still have potential to prove that they're frauds. They still have a long season ahead of them. So, Jags, you're not out of the woods yet. Now, Titans-Bills was the next game. And before I say what ended happening, it started well for the Titans. They were up 10-0 on the Bills. It looked like to be another upset. Then Josh Allen forgot that he remembered that he's a superstar and he's the second or third best quarterback behind Mahomes. So they then scored 34 points unanswered. And there's a play, Rakshak, I don't know if you've seen this one, but the rookie wide receiver, Keon Coleman, literally... You know what I'm talking about. He literally had to help Amari Cooper remember the play call.
So basically, for those that are watching it, he's basically lined up like this. Oh, this is the route. Then runs up.
Exactly. He gives the route to Amari Cooper, who runs it perfectly and scores a touchdown immediately.
My goodness.
All right. I mean, anyways, sell on the Titans. The ship is going. This ship is going nowhere.
But you know what? The Titans, the Jags, and the Pats have in common, along with the Panthers.
What?
They're competing for the greatest prize of them all. Tank Bowl. Remember,
exactly.
Folks, what is the rule of Tank Bowl, Anand?
It is to earn the majesty of becoming the worst team in the NFL and earning that loquacious trophy of the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah,
I don't know if I used the right analogy there,
the
but
goal is to lose.
exactly.
And
All right.
and by the way, this is this is a bit of a I know this may be like one of those like little bit of an interruption. You can edit this part, but so something was trending on Twitter on Eagles Nation. I just found out during a Kamala Harris town hall, one of the guys says, "Oh, by the way, go Birds," and then asks the question.
They're everywhere, man. They're everywhere. Lock them down.
You can edit that clip. You can edit it.
Alrighty. Next up, Bungles versus Browns. The
Oh,
Bungles win 21-14. Justice has been served. Deshaun Shitstain has been removed from the football field. Sadly, all the massage therapists of Cleveland have quit for the impending workplace harassment lawsuits.
I don't even know what to say.
He's done. If you guys don't know, Deshaun Watson suffered an Achilles tear on his right ankle. Well-deserved injury. Everybody was cheering that injury on. This is the funny thing that happened, okay? Every fan in the Cleveland Browns stadium was cheering. They were literally cheering Deshaun Watson being carted off the field. And then you had Jameis Winston and Myles Garrett in the post-game press conferences. It was like, shame on you, Cleveland, for shaming such a man who had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations. Like this stupid corporate answer that you give when you're trying to prevent, the real words to be said. They were following the corporate message. They were peddling the corporate message, especially Jameis Winston. He was like going all out for the whole shtick. And it's just such a tired nuisance. The guy is a sexual predator, okay? Alleged predator. Alleged, quote unquote, alleged. We know he is. Why does he deserve any sort of sympathy? He shouldn't. He doesn't. He needs to have both his ankles removed, both of his knees removed, paralyzed permanently, waist down, so that he can never, ever, ever step on a football field, and return with CTE so that he could never coach. Anyways, he should just become a paralyzed, lifeless, barely surviving, hanging on body corpse. That's what he needs to be. Permanent torture.
Oh my God. I have no words.
All right, let's move forward. This needs to be a short on YouTube.
Oh my God. I have nothing to say after this.
All right, next game. Dolphins versus Colts. Dolphins 10, Colts 16. Are people still following the Colts? How are the Colts 4-3? They're 4-3. Tua might be back. Anyways, I don't want to dwell further. Next game, Raiders 15, Rams 20. Man, boy, did Antonio Pierce pull the wool over everyone's eyes last year, because as a head coach, he decided to score a field goal down 8 on 4th and goal from the 4-yard line or 5-yard line, inside the 5-yard line, with less than 2 minutes left.
Lolcow of the year nominee.
Lolcow of the year nominee, for sure. They were down 20-12, 8 points. You need a touchdown. You're playing to lose. They score a field goal and they win. They lose 20-15. Oh my God. Genius Antonio Pierce. Man, what a hack. All right, last but not least, Jets versus Steelers, the pathetic game that we never saw coming. Steelers win 37-15. And you know what, Rakshak? Randall Cobb, where are you at? He's the only one who can save the New Jersey
the
Pack
cycle
Jets
must be complete.
from their misery.
Oh God,
Mr. Unlimited.
What's up, Steelers country? This is Russell Wilson right here, your boy. We were so unlimited with those plays, baby. This is how we do it, Steelers country. Let's will. Black and gold, let's roll.
You proved that you're the man, Mr. Unlimited.
Thank you very much, my dear fan, to my number one fan right there, Mr. Anand Salgundi.
Oh my
Steelers
God.
country, let's will, baby. And of course, you know what this means, Anand. The Steelers are going to the Super Bowl. the high-end talent and the bullshit that is Steelers.
How are
football.
they 5-2, man?
Dude, you know what we said at the beginning of this one? The Bengals and the Ravens were going to be the top, and the Steelers are going to somehow bullshit their way. Who would have thought the Ravens and the Steelers of all teams are fighting for the AFC North? Jesus. What the hell?
Alrighty. That's it for my games. My mouth is tired from smiling.
Yeah. And with this, we go on to the NFC. Ravens versus Bucks. That was a thriller, but it looked like it appeared to be a thriller, but all hail Derrick Henry, king of the stiff arms, lord of the shadow realm. He's basically sunned the entire Bucks. And I think just as I was about to continue on to the next sentence, I believe Derrick Henry ran for another touchdown. And Mike Evans, congratulations on 100 touchdown receptions for the game. And Chris Godwin, get better. Suffered a nasty injury, that's for sure. Chargers versus Cardinals. Anand, I think we're back at the same thing in which the Chargers chargered the game without scoring a touchdown. Who's got it better than anyone? Stupid. Kyler Murray had to use his legs, did what he could, and they ran the ball over the Chargers. They went 17-15. Panthers versus the Commanders. For context, it was a blowout. Panthers lose 7-40. And Sam Darnold, very second play of the game, second drive, throws a pick six. Are you freaking kidding me? And even with Jaden Daniels going out, I mean, hopefully he gets well soon. Commanders are still euthanizing those cats, man. I mean, called the American Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals or something like that, man. Because yeah, that was rough.
Yeah.
I know we just talked about Lions and Vikings. I mean, what an effing game. That's all I can say. The Seahawks versus the Falcons. A proof of the myth of Kirktober just ended, thanks to the Seahawks defense destroying Atlanta. Even when they made it 17-14, DK Metcalf, 99 yards and a touchdown before leaving early, and the Seahawks defense just suffocated. Kenneth Walker just ran over them. And I believe, am I missing a game or?
No, I think you're good.
Oh, why? The Cowboys are on a bye and they still lost, baby. And I mean, did you see the shit?
What a segue. Brilliant segue, as always, Rakshak. Brilliant.
Did you hear what I'm hearing from Jerry Jones and Troy Aikman?
Oh,
Troy Aikman goes on 105.3 to the Fan, criticizing the team of wide receiver routes, like why they're not completing their routes. Mike McCarthy's like, oh no, we got the talents. And then Micah Parsons, of course, will go on a sound. And did you see the comments Jerry Jones said about Derrick Henry?
No. Please read them.
I'm pulling off the quote. He justified saying, and I'm gonna try this. This is what Jerry Jones said, and I quote. And I believe I have the treat. He says, like, Derrick Jones is having a career year. I don't know if he'd be having a career year in our situation. We typically don't run that often at all. Derrick didn't fit principally due to managing the cap. Are you? I'm sorry. Pardon my French, but are you fucking kidding me, Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
What is wrong with? No, we already know what's wrong with you, but what? It's this winning culture, Cowboys country.
Mhm.
I
This
mean,
is winning culture. This is winning culture.
ah,
Alrighty.
the boys.
Well, that's it for us in terms of the Punch Minute segment. And wow, that was not Punch Minute. That was more like 15 minutes right there.
15 minutes of what the hell just happened.
Yeah, especially Mr. Deshaun shit stain. Oh, I'm gonna clip that and post that on YouTube.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
not the rant.
Yes. All right. My Masala moment of the week. It's hot piss. That's it.
The Tucker Craft catch.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised by that.
And the reason why is because of the Green Bay social media admin. They have been killing it.
He's so close. He's so close.
Oh my god.
Absolutely perfect.
And here, and I have to talk about in my Masala moment of the game. It has to deal with Mr. George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch the Sunday night game, oh my god. Like, I don't know if this was one of the plays. Russell Wilson steps back to pass, fakes the handoff, play action, throws it deep. No, this is not the one. I'm trying to find the what the hell kind of catch that he throws. And nope. It's so hard. Okay, I think this is
Oh
the
yeah, I remember that one.
Okay.
Where it was he threw it and
Oh,
George it was underthrown. George
Just what-
Pickens had to reach behind the DB.
And this is a play.
Yeah.
Basically,
Underthrown.
bounces off the helmet, catches it, bubbling, struggling, holds onto it. I'm like, are you?
He literally had to bobble the catch 3 times. Jesus, man. George Pickens is elite.
He's something, man.
He's an elite talent. Alrighty, so that's going to be it for us in terms of the Week 7 recap. What a week it has been. Hopefully, Week 8 will present itself in that way as well. So now we're going to preview our games and then the Masala games of the Week 8 preview, Week 8, and then we'll wrap it up. So we'll try and get this done as quickly as possible. All right. So, Packers, who are we facing this upcoming week? Well, it was a team none other than the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay.
Why'd you say it like that?
The Jacksonville Jaguars. It's 10:30 at night. My brain is off. It's Jags. It's the Jags.
Lol, Jags.
It should be an easy victory, but it smells like a trap game.
Trap game alert. Trap game
Trap
alert.
game. Woo. The okay. Packers are not really good at Jacksonville. It's historically that way. Last time versus the Saints, it was a blowout loss, 38-3, when Aaron Rodgers was still the QB. But you know what? This year's Jags can be fucked with. All right. You can literally do anything you want on them. They're not Jags. They're weak little domestic cats. They can just stuff. All right. I'm going to move forward. The defensive aspect. The Jaguars' numbers, according to True Media Sports, 32nd in defensive pass EPA per play per dropback, 32nd in blitz rate, which means they give up a lot of points versus the pass. They don't blitz, 25th in sack percentage, which means they rely heavily on their front four to get pressures and sacks, which they don't do a lot. Tied for 29th in takeaways, which is going to be fantastic for Jordan Love because he's going to be tossing up some tasty turnover abilities, but they might not be able to come down with it. And 30th in scoring defense. And Jordan Love, by the way, kills both good and bad defenses. Since week 4, so in these past 3-4 weeks, 1,092 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 big-time throws, according to PFF. So it basically means that we have to keep this offense running as it is and move forward. Focus on the running game, bring in Josh Jacobs all the time, keep him healthy, but keep using him, and keep using Emmanuel Wilson as your change of pace back, which we have loved to do. I foresee a lot of targets for Tucker Kraft, especially in the red zone. And it's actually going to be tough to see who gets the first touchdown pass because you got Tucker Kraft, you got Jaden Reed, you got Romeo. You also have Dontavian Wicks, who they target a lot in the red zone as well. Romeo Dobbs is going to be critical on second and third and short money downs, basically, because he has been a slot merchant. And we mentioned in the past game that out of his 8 targets, 6 of them were slants, and those were all first downs that he got. 6 of his receptions were all first downs. So he is going to be key for us in that arena. So I foresee a good offensive game from the Packers offense. Now, in the past times, the Packers defense would just lay down and get run over by Bessie, the road builder from Cars. They would just line up, have every opposing offensive member just come in and say, like, hey, I'm free meat. Come at me. This year, it might be different. It just might be different. We'll still see. My worry was like the same thing versus the Cardinals. And we saw just how effective the Packers were against the Cardinals, especially the defense. So if we can beat the Cardinals, then I think we can beat the Jaguars. And the Packers, they're tied for number 8 in the NFL in terms of pressures at 90 overall pressures in the entire league, and ranked number 11 in terms of sacks per pass attempt at 8.77% per pass attempt, according to Next Gen Stats. And the key thing is going to be Trevor Lawrence and the deep ball that Brian Thomas Jr. has, that connection that they have, that they throw often so much, right? That's the main way that they get explosive gains is Trevor Lawrence to Brian Thomas Jr. Well, this is the safety tandem that you do not want to do it. Okay, because the Packers safety duo of Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams has more interceptions and pass breakups than catches allowed. Listen to that.
Okay.
They more turnovers and breakups, 15 interceptions and breakups combined, than allowed at 8. So nearly 2 times. They're allowing a 16.7 passer rating when targeted. You know what? I think Jeff Hafley, what he's going to do is just going to run cover 2 and have, Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams on 100% of the defensive snaps. Just have them patrolling the deep, safety position and just prevent Brian Thomas Jr. from ever getting a catch. Okay. And then what that's going to do is that means that Trevor Lawrence has to rely on all the other targets, which is going to be difficult because the pass rush is probably going to be, fierce. It's probably going to be 4 to 5 man rushes. Nothing too fancy because Jeff Hafley doesn't need to. But on third down, just buckle up and get sacked. All right, Trevor Lawrence, get sacked, turn the ball over because that's what you're good at. And then last but not least, Rashawn Gary. Okay. weeks 1 through 5, 6 total pressures. These past 2 weeks, 9 pressures. Literally 150% effort in the past 2 weeks than the first 5 weeks combined. So Rashawn Gary has turned it on. This is exactly what we expected from the contract that we gave him. And yeah. So I think the Packers are going to win 30-18, but it is possible that it's a shootout and we barely scrape by. That's it.
Nice. And with this one, the Eagles will be traveling to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. I mean, people are going to say, oh, you can easily beat the Bengals with the way that they're playing. But, I mean, past 2 games, although it was the Giants, although it was the Browns, their defense has stepped up a lot. And, again, you cannot underestimate them. Eagles offense versus the Bengals defense. Couple of guys. I mean, Lou Anarumo has given up 3 touchdowns in 2 straight games, by the way. Only 1 garbage touchdown. Guys I would recommend watching out, Sheldon Rankins, defensive tackle, Trey Hendrickson, who has been a thorn in the on the Bengals like defensive line and also outside linebacker. Don't forget Sam Hubbard and Miles Murphy, that draft pick. The Bengals took over Nolan Smith. If I remember not too long ago. But I'd also look an eye out for Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson. They're great when they're playing together with the run stop ability, especially going up against Nick Chubb, who was returning. But now, I would say Cam Taylor-Britt and Dax Hill. Will Cam Taylor-Britt shut his mouth? Tell me, Anand. Do you think he's going to shut his mouth?
No.
Because right now, I think this is where the Eagles can still, I think they have enough talent to beat this Bengals defense, especially with the way that they've now understood like what their identity on offense is. Running the ball. I mean, Saquon Barkley had a $176. I think he can pull. I think yes, he's resting, and with Mekhi Becton being out, most likely Tyler Steen, he had a decent but the only worry I have is Fred Johnson being at that left tackle position, because after what Azeez Ojulari did against him, getting those 2 sacks. I would imagine Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard being in the way. They can also tip passes. They're very athletic. So this is the game that Hurts has to be very, very aware of his surroundings. Start up the run game with Saquon Barkley. Attack the intermediate routes, especially you need to get Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown going. And I honestly want to see Jahan Dotson and Grant Calcaterra being used. Attack the middle of the field if you need to, but I would also trust AJ Brown. But if you're okay, if you force him into those one-on-one matchups, I would suggest the Eagles wide receivers over that, and it helps to stop that Bengals pass rush. Now, Eagles defense against the Bengals offense, regardless of whatever's on that side, Joe Burrow is the real deal. I'll say that.
Yes.
He is a very dangerous quarterback. And by the way, this is the SEC rivalry matchup. Jalen Hurts of Alabama versus Joe Burrow of LSU.
Let's go, LSU.
I'm not saying this. Go Bulldogs and roll. Ugh, I hate saying this, but roll tide. I mean, go Vanderbilt, by the way.
Yeah.
But like, again, the biggest defense, the biggest key for the defense, you have to stop Joe Burrow from throwing the ball early. Because because it negates the pass rush. And especially guys in Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Andre Iosivas, Mike Gesicki, and don't forget Chase Brown. And speaking of Chase Brown, his twin brother, Sidney Brown, who's playing for the Eagles as a safety. I mean, y'all should check out the draft story of the Brown brothers, twins. I think they could literally go face off against each other, but Sidney Brown might not start because Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship will be there. But then again, I would say this is a game of matchups, and if I'm looking at who to stop Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you know what? I'm going to take a strong bet on that. Hear me out. I'm going to say Jamar Chase, you put Quinyon Mitchell on that guy.
Yes, your number one lockdown corner.
And then Darius Slay will go up against, I would say, put Darius Slay on T. Higgins. Andre Iosivas will likely, and Jamar Chase, what I can imagine them is going through some motions in which you have Iosivas who has speed. And you'll also see Chase attacking the nickel position. This is where Cooper DeJean has been effective as well. Pete DeJean in the nickel position has been great. And now the key issue is going to be the linebackers, especially Nakobe Dean disguising the blitzes like he was able to do against Daniel Jones. I want to see Vic Fangio do it off against a stronger corner. Pass rush needs to hit more early. I want to see a little bit more design and press coverages, especially maybe you go to safety zone. Maybe you bring in Sidney Brown as a blitzer, and hell, you put him off against Chase Brown because both players love to hit hard. And of course, I trust my kicker Jake Elliott over Evan McPherson all day. And I think honestly, this is going to be an offensive battle. Whoever gets the most stops and controls the ball. And the Eagles can win this by controlling the ball with a running game. They have to do this from the start. Honestly, I think the Bengals will win this game because Joe Burrow, he's honestly the better QB. But I would not be surprised if the Eagles win because they are 2.5 underdogs, by the way. So I'm saying Bengals win 31-28. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree. I think it's going to be tough to stop this Bengals offense, but you're going to have an easier time against this Bengals defense. So I expect it to be a shootout as well.
But you think for 31-28?
Yeah. Eagles win.
And you know what? And I forgot to tell you about your game. I predict a curb stomping for the Jaguars. They're going to fire Doug Peterson after this game. Just finish off the last strikes. And I'm going to say this: 35-10 Packers.
I feel so I'm like, okay, I don't want it to be a trap game, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Alrighty. That's it in terms of our games of the week. Let's move on to the Masala game of the week segment. Alrighty. There's an interesting matchup this week.
Yeah. What's up?
Two teams that we didn't really think last year were going to be serious competitors for anything. We thought that they were going to be rebuilding teams, that they're going to be, especially with the quarterback situation that they had. But no, these are two of the top 10 teams in the entire league, and they both have rookie QBs. That's right, people. I am taking the Bears versus Commanders as my Masala game of the week. Now, this is an exciting matchup if Jaden Daniels plays. And that is the key differentiator because he is right now listed as questionable with a rib injury. So if he does play, then I think that this is going to be a very, very exciting game. Otherwise, I don't really see the Commanders competing against the Bears because there ain't no way Marcus Mariota can hang with this Bears defense. Well, I hate saying it, but the Bears defense is fantastic. I mean, there's so many statistics where they're really, really good at. When you look at the amount of times that they allow a first down on defense, they're the number one team in the league in terms of their defensive series earning first downs at just 57%, whereas the Commanders offense is the best in the league at 70%. So 70% of the time when they are looking to get a first down or a new set of downs, they earn a new set of downs. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup if we see Jaden Daniels play against this Bears defense because
I want him to play.
I know. I want him to play, right? I want him to play. And especially I want to see if Cliff Kingsbury can use his mobility against a really, really underrated but really solid Bears back five. When you look at their, including their linebackers, right? When you look at their linebackers and secondary, it's actually not that bad. You've got Tremaine Edmonds being the Mike linebacker, TJ Edwards weak side,
Oh,
Jack
why did he not
Sanborn.
resign Howie?
He's playing really well for this Bears defense. Jack Sanborn on the strong side, but you look at the secondary, Jalen Johnson, one of the best cover corners in the entire league. Jaquan Brisker, really good safety. Kevin Byard, who's also been really well graded by PFF. Tyreek Stevenson, also a really good slot corner. Kyler Gordon, another good opposite to Jalen Johnson. So they have the secondary and the back like seven to be really, really feisty for this Commanders offense, especially against mobile QBs. Now, here's the thing. The offenses that the Bears defense has played overall, not that good in terms of EPA per play. They've played the Titans, 28th in the league. Texans, early Texans, and they lost, right? They held the Texans to 19 points, but they still lost that game. Colts, Rams, injured Stafford, Panthers, we know who they are, and recently the Jaguars before this bye week. So it's not like the Bears have played the best offenses in the league and have determined these this caliber of a defense. They have not faced the Commanders offense yet. All right. And the way that the Commanders offense just systematically destroys any defense that they face. I mean, the Commanders offense is like top 5 in basically any offensive metric you want to look at, right?
Mhm.
Especially the advanced ones, which tell a lot, especially regarding scheme and all of that, right? You look at offensive EPA per play, the Commanders are head and shoulders above anybody else in the entire league. You look at series conversion rate, which is how many times do you convert an offense into a successful drive. They're at like 85%, you know? QB efficiency on early downs and on late downs. Jaden Daniels is one of the best QBs on money downs. He's the second best QB on money downs in terms of EPA per play. And early downs, he's like top 10 in the entire league. This is Jaden Daniels, rookie QB on the Commanders, which is not, what we expected to be. Rushing and passing efficiency on early downs. On early downs in terms of passing efficiency, the Commanders are the 4th best in the league. So I think this is something that the Bears defense is really good at, and that's, being strong against the run, right? They have one of the highest run stop win rate in the entire league. Or they have a really good run stop win rate in the entire league and a really high grade from PFF. And this is something that I think could be a matchup that the Bears will defeat the Commanders in, and that's in the trenches against the run game. So hopefully, if Jaden Daniels plays, then I expect them to use his mobility. But the Washington offense is going to be the key decider in this game. Bears offense, this is the defense for Caleb Williams to thrive against. The Commanders defense is not good. Okay, 25th in EPA per play, 30th in success rate, which means they give up a lot of points and they give up a lot of first downs, right? So if Caleb Williams has to thrive, this is the defense. Now, at the end of the day, if Jaden Daniels plays, I think the Commanders can pull off the upset. 28-25. If he cannot play, it's going to be a curb stomping. I don't think the Commanders can score more than 18 points on this Bears defense. So I think the Bears win 30-18. That's my 2 scenarios. Last but not least.
Dang. Well, Good so far. My game of the week is going to be Falcons versus Bucks, the rematch of that Thursday night game. But I just found out that this series between the Falcons and the Bucks is tied 31 apiece, I believe. This is according to the website of the Buccaneers, Buccaneers homepage. They are literally tied, and they both have 31 wins. And of course, who wins the NFC South? Basically, it will be a sweep if the Falcons win. Bucks offense versus Falcons defense. Again, Bucks is going to be very, very limited because they're going to be without Chris Godwin, who's out for the year. Most likely with Mike Evans, maybe limited with a hamstring. But I'm going to say, let's say just to be on the safe side, he's going to be out. So you're going to have to rely on Trey Palmer and Jalen McMahon to go up against AJ Terrell and Jesse Bates in that Falcon secondary. I got 2 words for you. Good luck. And I honestly think, and maybe this could be the game in which Sterling Shepard has to be involved, and especially when Baker Mayfield attacks and throws the ball really quickly. You have to have hot routes ready. And I think and also and you need the run game from Bucky Irving and Rashad White. You have to attack the Falcons. I mean, if you want a good game plan, look at what the Seahawks did, especially using a lot of Kenneth Walker. I don't know if Zach Charbonnet was involved, but enough protection, get the ball. Like how Geno Smith was able to carve up this Falcons press defense. You have to attack with the run game. And Bucky Irving, don't fumble the ball after you get the first down. Note after that overtime game, which was insane. Falcons will definitely want blood by attacking, by rushing the ball and to attack Baker Mayfield. But again, this could be the game in which Matthew Judon has to have an impact. So far, I believe he's had like 1.5 sacks since and with the Falcons, and they have not, and he hasn't been able to generate a pressure. So you have to attack Baker Mayfield. And if I'm looking at like couple of matchups, I would say I would put Trey Palmer against AJ Terrell if Mike Evans is unable to go. And I think honestly, you have to get the run game going. Enough said. I could go stat, but I don't want to because a lot of those guys are going to be out. Bucks defense versus Falcons offense. The Falcons offense has to run. They can get back on track by running the ball more. If you look at what Derrick Henry did to the Bucks, allowing 244 rushing yards, you know who's sniffing blood? Bijan and Algier. Bijan, this could be the game. I'm going to say this. Bijan Robinson might have 150 rushing yards.
Woo! Beat the Dole.
I think that can happen if the Falcons don't force Kirk Cousins to throw the ball multiple times. Just run the ball. Just pound up that. No, Diddy. Just attack the Bucks' porous defense with the run game. And there is a matchup that the Falcons can easily take out. Guess what? Jamel Dean of the Bucks, he is probably on IR. So they have rookie Tyrick Thunderberg. That's his name, Tyrick Thunderberg. He's going to go up against Drake London. And as of now, I mean, Drake London, 44 catches, 491 yards, 5 touchdown grabs to lead the Falcons with 62 targets. I mean, he is Mr. Consistency. But Thunderberg is good in zone coverage, playing with some anticipation, but he's a UDFA and he will he has to hold he could somewhat hold up on his own, but against Drake London, good luck. That's all I can say. And if Drake London's not involved, I mean, they had Darnell Mooney, trying to remember, Cordero Hodges, who caught that game-winning touchdown, Ray McLeod. The Falcons have a ton of weapons that they could use. And and I would also look at one battle on the defensive line because Todd Bowles will bring the blitz when he needs to. And one battle is going to be Grady Jarrett, defensive line, against Cody Mock. Grady Jarrett, last full season, he's had 6 sacks and 17 QB hits. And he missed, and of course, right now, he is going up against Cody Mock, who is okay with like his footwork, and he's only allowed 2 sacks this season. So it'll be very interesting to see how well like Todd Bowles can try and implement this rush. Matthew Judon has to hit home. If he is not getting it, if the Bucks are able, I mean, like if the oh yeah, that's Falcons defense against the Bucks offense. But yeah, you have to attack. And also, yeah, okay. I'm just like running loose, man. It's late. But anyway, Jake Matthews against Buccaneers linebacker Joe Troy and Shinoika. I mean, Jake Matthews so far as a tackle, he's only allowed the 6th lowest sacks per pass play percentage in the NFL, 5.32%. And I think he's going up against Troy and Shinoika, pass rush by committee. He's racked up. The Bucks have racked 17 QB sacks in the past 4 games. From the bottom of the league sacking and sack percentage to a more respectable 19%, 7.2%. Troy Shinoika only has one of those sacks, 1 sack, 14 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 quarterback hits, 2 passes defended, and a fumble recovery. I think he can try. I think Todd Bowles may try and move him up inside, use him as a chess piece, but if he attacks outside, Jake Matthews is going to be waiting, so that'll be a fun matchup. But either way, I think. But unfortunately, with the injuries that I'm seeing on the Buccaneers' offensive side, the Falcons will get the broomsticks. They're going to sweep the Buccaneers 28-14. Honestly, unless the Bucks get some kind of run game going, it's going to be a long day for Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
Baker is going to bake, but it'll only be tasty turnovers.
Yep. No, I agree. Alrighty. That's going to be it for us today. If you guys have enjoyed, please leave us a review at one of the 4 podcast platforms that we host our podcasts on: Apple, Google, Spotify, and Pocket Casts. Or hit us up at nflmasala@gmail.com, spelled as NFL MASALA @gmail.com. Or Chuck.
You can also find us on YouTube. That is NFL Masala, the name itself. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. And also we are also on Twitter /X and Instagram at NFL MASALA 2022, all lowercase, at NFL MASALA 2022.
And now we're going to hit you guys with their signature outro. Go Pack Go.
And fly, Eagles fly. Take care and have a good night.